Hi Andy, lovely to meet with you and finally get to work on your game, hands-on if you will. It was a great day, very productive, a lot of good questions, a lot of good conversation. I really enjoyed it and hopefully we can do it again in the not too distant future. As promised, I brought you a recap down into two areas really, starting off with the short game we looked at the beginning of your session and then moving on to the full swing changes we prescribed in the second recap, which will follow on straight after this one. In regards to your chipping, one of the things you were struggling to do was control the low point, and one of the main reasons for that is you were here on the top left. You're trying to play all pitch shots with the same action, where the weight's forward, the ball's pretty centred, and the hands stay very passive. One of the problems with that is we've not necessarily got enough loft and bounce on the golf club to be forgiving or productive when we're trying to lob the ball over a bunker. The arc is very wide, both sides of the ball, again, which is not ideal for every situation when you're at a golf course. So what we're looking at is some sort of approach with a little bit more of a system to it that's going to allow you to play from varying lies and produce varying trajectories when you're out on a golf course. So first thing we talked about was what changes we need to make when we're trying to play a low running shot. What we got here is you demonstrating this towards the middle part of the work that we did on your chipping. And what we've done here is we've put, when we want the ball to run, we're going to move the ball back in the stance, we're going to move the handle up and forward, and we're going to try and keep the arc. You have to excuse the shot phone, someone's obviously very keen to get in touch with me. You're going to keep the arc nice and long. So for a low running shot, we've got the ball back, which is de-lofting the club, producing a steep angle of attack. We're going to keep the arc long to allow us to hit out at the golf ball a little bit more, encouraging a little bit less backspin, a little bit more overspin if you will. Certainly more of a running shot. Don't want to get into the semantics of spin too much. We've pushed the handle up and forward to help shallow things out on the way through so we don't get too steep. So we've got ball back, handle forward and up, and keeping the arc long when we want to play a low running shot. When we're playing a high lob shot, this is earlier on in the piece when we start talking about, sort of later on we start talking about squaring the stance up and the reasons for that, but just the basic go-to principles. We've now moved the ball forward in the stance, which is giving us more loft and which is presenting more bounce on the golf club, so that if we do hit the ball slightly, we're not just going to chunk it in front of us. In order to keep the loft on the club, we want to feel like the arc's a little bit shorter. This will swing the club a little bit more to the left on the way through, moving the low point forward. If we don't move the low point forward, we'll bottom out behind the golf ball. If we do that, we're going to then thin the ball across the green because of the leading edge being exposed to the golf ball. So ball forward, that's going to give us loft and bounce. Handle down, and you can move it back a little bit if you like, but we've got the shaft sitting certainly more vertically. And then shifting the plane to the left, just introducing a little bit of steepness to move that low point forward. You can sort of see on those two shots the difference in the angle of launch between the two shots that you were playing. Just take that up there now. Just do a random line for you. Don't pay too much attention to that unless I've fluked it and got it right. Just move that on so as it leaves the bay. Trajectory is as so on this one. Because of the changes we've made at setup and because of the slight adjustments in the stance to produce the low point control that we're after, we get a slightly higher launch without necessarily creating or trying to make a different swing. There were some slight changes to the backswing as a result of what we were trying to do, but really it was all changing things on the ground, moving the ball forward As the ball goes forward, the handle needs to go back and the shaft, or down, and the shaft more vertical, for reasons explained before. And when the ball goes back, the handle needs to go up and forward, again for reasons explained before. So as long as you stick to those principles and link the ball position being back to a longer arc and the ball position going forward to a shorter arc, you can have much more control of your low point, much more control of the trajectory of your shots, and as a result you're going to be much more effective on and around the greens. Good luck with it. If you have any questions, feel free to pass them on.